everyone.
I'm back, baby.
It's Jake Ciely.
I'm great. Everybody else sucks.
Oh,
no. It's every nightmare I've ever had.
Excuse me?
It's time to check the link.
Pretty crazy, huh? But it doesn't matter because none of this has anything to do with the show.
You know what? You just made the list.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
It's all in football.
sure, we talk about it all the time. Really? No.
What's up, you docs? It's week 7 of waiver wire talk and worries and more on All in Football with Stepmom Lauren joining me today. If you're not following her at Stepmom Lauren, stepmomlauren.com. As she says, don't go searching, just go directly to the website. And if you're not over on FTN, code All In, get you 20% off. If you're not at The Athletic, theathletic.com/ I stopped myself. I finally stopped myself from doing the slash, and now I just said it anyway. But / BetsTV, all capitals, gets you your first free month. Lord, it's week 7. It is the worst bye week of the year. We have 6 teams on bye. We have multiple people getting hurt. We have scraps on waivers. I usually have a droppable section that I even said, and for running backs, I put a question mark. I said, I don't know who you're dropping at running back this week with 6 teams on bye and all the injuries. How thin are things for you in some of your leagues?
That's pretty bad. I prefer not to really dwell on it too much because I'm going on vacation soon and I don't want it to ruin my good chi that I have going on here. I tried to
yeah, that's right. Real quick to jump in and interrupt you. For everybody that's seeing Lauren for the first time in Canada, she doesn't like you guys. She's sticking around for 1 week and saying, see ya, I'm out of here. Thanks, guy. Thanks, buddy. I'm out. No,
bye.
Actually, you get to double down with Chris Meany next week while he fills in. But yes, you are off to Nashville and some country gear.
I am very excited. I did. I spent a little bit too much money on some country gear, but hey, I like doing that. It's super fun. So in honor of this show, I did wear my DuckTales shirt. #life goals. Because I'm abandoning you next week. So I thought I would put a smile on your face by wearing this shirt, which I told you I was going to get. But yeah, I'm really excited. But I tried to prepare for these bye weeks like ahead of time. But when it comes to injuries and then the bye weeks, it's like, there's so much on the waiver wire and all of it sucks. That's what's so bad. It's like all of these names, but it's terrible. Like
they are terrible names. To be honest, I see some people asking me this. And they're like, if I don't make drops, I have to leave 2 spots empty, or technically empty. I'm starting people on buys. Look, for everybody out there, it's not the worst thing to do. I had one league, and I'm not like, oh, look at me. And I wouldn't expect this to be the case for a lot of, but there was one, it was week 9. I don't remember what season it was, but I literally had half my team on a bye. I had 3 starting spots by players because I said, you know what?
There were 6 teams on a bye that week, wasn't it? I think that was 2019.
Was it? It was a big week.
I had the same situation.
I felt like it was earlier than that, but in any case, I said, I'll take this on the chin this 1 week. And I'll have about 90% of my team the rest of the year. And that was the only week I lost. Of course, I had a powerhouse. But for all intents and purposes, for everybody out there for the similar situation, instead of just trying to cobble together the mess that's on waivers and hopefully scratch out a win and lose more value in what you're dropping, sometimes it's, you don't always want to take the loss. I'm saying if you're 2-4, 1-5, don't do it. But if you have a winning record, I don't hate it. By the way, for your t-shirt, I love it. By the way, I thought it was the Kool-Aid Man because I could only see the red part.
I know, it does kind of look like that, doesn't it?
It kind of looked like a weird drawing of the Kool-Aid Man. I did a 90s shirt too. It's Saved by the Bell, but it's like Christian version. It's Save Me from Hell, Saved by the Bell.
It's actually kind of funny because it's just his butt.
I didn't even realize it. Well, it's covered up. Do we have to have the whole conversation about naked ducks again?
No, we won't. I was going to dress up as Make a Duck for Halloween, but I'm not going to be with you on Halloween. So
you're not. That's right. Because that's next week. You're gonna have to go back and watch. I do have something for Halloween next week that I'll be wearing.
Ooh, okay.
I guess I'll have to wear it with Chris Meany because, sorry, Jeff, on Wednesdays for ranks, you seem less fun than Chris Meany when it comes to I have a feeling like if I wore what I'm going to wear, he'd just be like, okay, whatever, shut up, let's go. So
I do have a little surprise because I will be doing a Sunday live show. So I will have a wee bit of a surprise for everyone who joins in on the Sunday live show.
Where can they watch that?
They can watch that on Mayo Media Net. That's what I do for them Sunday live. You can also just follow me on the socials. I tweet it out there too. So it's super fun, but I'll have a little bit of a surprise.
So fun game last night. We don't usually recap too much from the Monday night game, but there are some takeaways from this that I do want to talk about real quick. You and I were saying this before the show, talking about the Zach Moss. And I said, I admittedly said, you know what? I'll hesitantly buy into Zach Moss because he was being used in the passing game. You said what I said for the longest time, and I never want to trust the Buffalo Bills running back because look, we know Josh Allen is kind of the lead running back, and then split up. But at least the split was like 65-35 Zach Moss until this game. And then all of a sudden, it's Singletary taking about 60% of it. If you need a running back, would you even, go buy Zach Moss because of the buys as an RB3, or you just like this is why I want nothing? Because I had a section last year in my waiver column, Lauren, and it was Bill of Tricks, or what did I call it? Patriots games. It's like Patriots game, the movie.
It. Yeah.
And it was backfields I never want anything to do with, no matter what. Like this year, it would be the Dolphins, no matter what. Want nothing to do with them. Would the Bills fall into that conversation for you?
They do. They really do. However, there is an argument to be made if you're suffering from injuries and bye weeks. Like I have one league where my 2 starting running backs are Demetric Felton and Khalil Herbert because I have Christian McCaffrey and David Montgomery.
Well, Khalil Herbert's good, so
yeah, luckily, but it's a hot mess. So the argument can be made. It's just trying to figure out which one it is. Now, push come to shove, I would prefer Devin Singletary over Zach Moss. But I would really like to not have anything to do with the Bills backfield if I possibly can. It's like the Ravens. And
you would take Moss over Felton, which, by the way, is Felton Canadian? Because not inches. It's not the interest Felton.
My goodness. Demetric. Is it? But I've heard it pronounced Demetric too. So I don't know which one it is. Demetric. So I'm not sure.
We have to do like what I did way back in the day when Tariq Cohen came out of college. People were calling him Tarek, and I went and found a clip of his mom saying his name, and I was like, "Oh, if she says Tariq, it's Tariq Cohen. Like she knows."
It's Tariq Cohen. I remember that. Oh my god, that feels like so long ago. Wow.
All right, well then, here's one. Now he's on a bye. So I even put this in so there's another section I brought back. It's the first time this year. It usually takes some weeks, but I bring back the Unbreak My Heart, if you remember the song. I'm not going to sing it and lose every single viewer we have, but it's guys that I previously had said were droppable that I'll kind of forgive. Similar to the Ducks, I give 1 to 5 hearts. So I gave Cole Beasley 3 hearts because the snap count had been going down. The routes run had been going down. He actually ran 16 on 16 snaps last week. Bounces back huge in this Titans game. They're on a bye, so it's kind of hard to grab somebody who's on a bye on top of it, especially with 6 teams on a bye. Yeah. But do you have a little bit of forgiveness after Cole Beasley last night? I gave him 3 out of 5 hearts.
Yeah, no. It's so hard with between Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley. The only thing that would kind of allow me to have, an unbroken heart for Cole Beasley is whatever this news is coming out about Dawson Knox and whatever is going to happen with him. Then I think we're going to be having a better discussion about Cole Beasley, but I need to wait and see.
Okay. Well, I gave him 3. So what would you give him? Like 1?
Not 2.
2? I was gonna say we can't give him an egg for the second. Like, what would be the second version of a heart about to explode? We have to figure that out. We have to brainstorm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like what's a baby
have to come
heart?
up with something. A baby
heart?
I know. I don't know.
I have to think about that one. We'll take suggestions on that one.
Yeah.
Before we finish up for this game, Julio Jones hurt again. Could be 1 week, could be multiple weeks. We don't know. But I want to talk about more of the fact that Tannehill has been a streamer. Is he even a streamer at this point? Because, it's a good game all around, and they didn't need him because Derrick Henry, I say they don't need him because Derrick Henry ran for 3 touchdowns. But he gets the Chiefs this week. Is Tannehill still in the streaming? Are you still willing to put him in that conversation?
Yeah, but not with confidence. I was so high on Ryan Tannehill in the offseason. He's one of those that I have so far, swing and a miss when it comes to Ryan Tannehill, and I am not happy about it. Because I really, really liked Ryan Tannehill last season. I had high hopes for him coming into this season, and so far he has let me down. Although I do understand there's been some issues with the wide receiver position, with A.J. Brown hurt, now Julio Jones, just constantly back and forth as Julio Jones does. And they're relying on Derrick Henry more and more and more all the time. So it's difficult, but he has the potential. So that's why I would keep him in the category. He has the potential to do very well, but I don't like it. I don't have a ton of confidence in it.
Okay. By the way, good suggestion from Alex. I think like Cupid, he said. Like Cupid be like a new one. Because he originally said bow or an arrow, but that looks kind of weird next to but I think that Cupid, like about to create a heart for somebody, maybe?
I can get on board. But like what comes first, Cupid or the heart? I don't know.
Which comes first, chicken or the egg? Duck or the egg? Which comes first? The duck comes first and you birth an egg. So
why are we doing these philosophical conversations every week?
I don't know, but you said I can get on board, and I was going to transition, but you kept going. I was going to say, are you on board with? See, that's what was going to be my transition. How much are you on board with? Look, okay, depending on when you're watching this in your area or in your time zone, depending on when that is. If Dearness Johnson, obviously, we'll have to play this as in Nick Chubb doesn't play. He doesn't return this week. Now, we might get news Nick Chubb shows up at practice Tuesday afternoon, and he might be out there. If anything, he might be back next week, unless they're not on a bye next week, are they? Do you know?
Oh, gosh.
I'll check while I'm asking the question. So, Dearness Johnson, how aggressive are you going after him? Because he is the guy. Kareem Hunt is definitively out for some time. They are not on a bye next week. Only 2 teams on a bye. We could have pushed 2 teams from this week to next week. What the hell are we doing, NFL? So anyway, Dearness Johnson, how aggressive are you going to be after Dearness on the waiver wire? Or are you concerned that it might be Felton mixed in too much?
There you go. So that is my biggest concern with Dearness Johnson. We kind of had this experiment last year with him, and it crashed and burned and failed. And it was not growing well in the petri dish in the experiment of Dearness Johnson. I didn't like it.
Okay, game splitting with Hunt when Chubb was out for 1 week.
I get it, but when we're talking about which running back is going to have which role, because Kevin Stefanski's offense for the Browns is run first, run all the time, especially with Baker Mayfield, who just keeps dislocating his non-throwing shoulder, and it's a significant situation. We might see Case Keenum. This is a short week. So for me, I wonder how creative that they're going to get with both of these running backs.
Which Liam Johnson?
Well, I don't know, because technically Demetric Felton is like the pass catching back. So if he's going to be filling in for Kareem Hunt,
well, that's why I say run
Demetric
first.
Felton, I don't know. So I would rather have Felton than I would have Dearness Johnson.
No, I was laughing at Lee de-interested. I like that. Well done. That's better than my D-inches. Or wait, no, I say D-inches Felton. We're all over the map. Okay, so if you don't have any interest in them, this is a group I wanted to throw at you. Because in the waiver column, again, if you go to theathletic.com/BetsTV, all capitals, you can read it for free. You can read the next month's worth for free. But I kept saying this, and I have a group that's called Next Man Up. It's the clear next men up. And the fact that, there's some backfields where I didn't put them in there. Like I didn't put, if anything happened to Gaskin, who cares? Because it might be Akbit, like whatever. And that's not even a next man up situation anyway. But so it's the clear ones. Sony Michel's been there for some time. Sony Michel's also already been picked up, and some team have dropped him because Henderson came back. So I specifically grouped Sony Michel separately by himself to say, if you didn't learn anything from Darrell Williams, if you didn't learn anything from Khalil Herbert, Damian Williams before Herbert, Alex Collins, please make sure you grab these guys. So I want to basically, you rank these 4 in your interest, Lauren. So it's Sony Michel, Rashad Penny, who's coming back, Jarrett Patterson with Gibson's mysterious shin, and Ramondre Stevenson.
This is really tough. Okay, I'm going to go Sony Michel.
Okay.
Ramondre Stevenson, Rashad Penny, Jarrett Patterson.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do.
Let me ask you this then. I'm going to pull a comment that I usually get out of my sections and phrase it that way. Okay. Why do you hate Jarrett Patterson?
I don't know enough about him, to be completely honest.
Okay.
I really don't know much about Jarrett Patterson. So right at this moment, right now, that's kind of the rank.
Lauren means from the NFL side. It's not like she doesn't know who he is, to be clear.
Yes. Thank you. I need to know. I know what I'm getting in Sony Michel. I know what I'm getting in Rashad Penny. I actually almost put Rashad Penny at the very end and just bounced up Jerry Patterson. I kind of want to see what's going to go on with all of these guys, because I don't really have a lot of faith in Sony Michel either, because he had one pretty good game. And other than that, he runs into the back of his own offensive line. Right. And he's just like, look, a butt, I'm going to run into it. And it's like, no, Sony Michel, you don't do that. It's not, it's very difficult for me.
Keep going.
It is. It's tough. I don't like it. So Sony Michel, I don't have a ton of faith in him, but that's a necessity. Excuse me. That is the word that I want to use when it comes to Sony Michel. And Darrell Henderson, man, he runs with authority, but he also runs a little recklessly. So
I will say this. I was surprised Stevenson was used.
Hurt.
I would love if Rashad Penny came. Oh, by the way, real quick, to go back to Michelle, that's called Mark Sanchez disease.
Yes,
if you,
yes.
Like, so he's got Mark Sanchezness.
The butt fumble, yep.
The Stevenson use in the passing game
was very interesting.
Because this is not just me, myself. Like, if you look at most scouting reports of him coming out of college, and no, he wasn't used a lot, and I say this to say, like, Damian Harris, Derrick Henry, actually a lot of the Alabama and SEC running backs of that mold, like, you don't get a lot of use in the passing game. So some of these running backs end up being better than people think just because they weren't used that way. Damian Harris, probably the prime example. But Stevenson, legitimately watching him was LeGarrette Blount, and like almost you really don't want him in the passing game. And all of a sudden the Patriots seem to unlock him. I'm interested in him only because Harris's injury concern. Patterson, I would put over Penny. I would. And I've been waiting for Penny for 10 years, 15 years.
Keep
Penny's
waiting,
entire life.
Grab some popcorn.
God, oh my God.
It's going to be a while.
Yeah, unless Alex Collins is severely hurt. All right, so let me ask you this one. There's a group of wide receivers that you said you're never going to touch no matter what. We're coming back to them later in the show, so save that. I saw your But the backfield of the Texans feels like the wide receivers for the Lions. Mark Ingram, though, 4 games now. It was the first 2, and then down where he was barely involved for 2 weeks in a row, and then back the past 2 weeks where he's been used. And I dug into this, Lauren, like, there has got to be a reason. I looked at all 6 games. I looked at cover 2 versus man versus zone versus pressure against the quarterback. Was it a blowout? Was it a close game? And there is zero correlation between those two. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing that speaks to those 2 games and the other 4
I'm sorry,
to say.
I'm so sorry.
It's just like, that's why there's nothing there. I know you're laughing because it's frustrating because I wanted to find a reason. 2 games in a row. Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
It's 6 teams and a bye. Would you pick up and roll out Mark Ingram?
You kind of have to. You know what I mean? He's a warm body.
Well, what were you laughing at? Were you laughing at the amount of work I did, or what were you laughing at?
I was laughing because it's so annoying and frustrating when you do that much work and you're going that deep into the weeds and still there's no aha moment.
I did the same thing with Cole Beasley. And the biggest discrepancy was last week to this week with Cole Beasley. I'm like, all right, the Chiefs and the Titans defenses have to be, and you heard if you were watching the Monday Night Football game, they kept referencing cover 2 and how much cover 2 was being run in that game. I was like, all right, maybe the Chiefs pure zone, never run cover. Nope. Oh, look, their defenses are pretty close within 5 percentage points across the board. Well, screw that. So yes, anyway, continue.
Yeah, it's just, I've done that before and it is the most frustrating thing in the world. And it sucks because normally when you can get that deep and you can look at those numbers, a trend or a pattern will start to emerge. That's not there in Houston. And it is so frustrating, not only from playing the fantasy football side of it, but from trying to help people. Because you're like, I don't know. I honestly have no idea what is happening. Like, this is so weird. But I think you may find yourself in a position where you're going to have to pick up someone like Mark Ingram. And I don't hate that because we've seen the potential of it. Just exactly. It's disgusting. Hold your nose. You know what I mean? Like,
and David Johnson's still been more efficient too. And that's the issue.
I know.
Like,
and David
so
Johnson,
disgusting.
be still my heart. I love David Johnson so much. And it's like, it's weird. It's such a weird backfield. Ugh.
Oh, I don't know if Lee's comment was to the heart thing, but he put Herbert the love bug. I don't know if that's because of Herbert, the running back, and that's just a Herbie the love bug. But I wonder if there's a little, like what's the little tiny, the ladybug? Maybe the ladybug, heart and a ladybug instead of the... Okay, all right. So we're back to Cupid.
Maybe you should turn instead of the heart, but you can't do that because it's Unbreak My Heart. But I was saying we could always, instead of, we could do like a flower, like a rose, because a rose represents love, and it could be a bud for the had not yet
just
come
make me
to
think
fruition.
Of that awful song from the Batman movie. Kiss from the rose.
Don't you dare be smirked, Seal. How dare you?
Where's Seal been? Anyway. How about
he was on Masked Singer like 2 seasons ago. I love Seal.
You watched that show? Kenneth Gainwell, Giovanni Bernard, Jerick McKinnon. There's an obvious reason these three are in a group together. If you had to pick one to start this week as your RB3, obviously half and full point PPR. If you're still playing non-PPR, don't blame you. Yeah. PPR's inflated fake points, and you can play whatever way you want to play. If you want to play with 17 running backs and one wide receiver spot, I don't care. Play how you want to play. I'll say it's stupid if I think it's stupid, just like ban kickers. You're stupid if you're playing with kickers, but play how you want to play. Half and full point PPR people only. These three options, and that's only because that's where they only have value. Is it Gainwell, Bernard, or McKinnon for you?
It's Giovanni Bernard for me. I'm done with Kenny Gainwell. I'm done with Nick Sirianni. There was a palpable, just juicy matchup for the Eagles going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense when it came to pass catching running backs. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense was horrible against pass catching running backs.
Look what Myles Gaskin just did to them.
And look what Kenny Gainwell could not do. And it wasn't Kenny Gainwell's fault. Okay, this is a situation. This is a problem with the Eagles. I don't know how long this Jalen Hurts experiment is going to be going on. But
that's not experiment. Shut up.
Yeah, okay. Because they're going to have 3 draft picks, and I guarantee you one of them is going to be a quarterback. So that's a problem, and it's a problem for that whole offense. So I really believed in Kenny Gainwell, but it's not his fault. It's Nick Sirianni. It's their inability. As a fantasy analyst, if I know that about Tampa Bay, how did you not know that about Tampa Bay? That's the only thing that really makes me mad. Now, McKinnon, Giovanni Bernard, I really like how Tom Brady is looking for him in the passing game when we're talking about these PPR points, half PPR points. And he also looks at him around the goal line, which I do like very much. So if I'm going to take a risk on any of these, I'm going to go with Tom Brady and that offense. Giovanni Bernard, give it to me.
Every time I look down to try to see what today's date is, my eye keeps going blurry. That's why I was wiping I'm trying to figure out, because I was going to say, okay, October 19th, 2021. Are we going
to diagnose you on the show?
October 19th, 2021, side bet, Lauren versus Jake. One of the 3 first rounders for the Eagles is not on a quarterback.
Okay. Set a reminder. But we can't. No, someone's going to get hurt. Like if for anyone who's new to the show, hi.
Who's going to get hurt? I don't even care if somebody gets hurt. This is not the year to go quarterback shopping. I actually think it's Malik Willis from Liberty. I went there for a year and a half, and that has nothing to do with it. But this is like Spencer Rattler is not even the starter anymore. He's probably going to have to transfer to find a new school.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Howell looks any given week for UNC. You could go Riddler. This is not the show for that, but I'm putting that bet out there mostly because you besmirched the name of Jalen Hurts. That's really what it comes down to. So one more. Oh
my goodness.
One more running back.
Sensitive. No,
hey, we can't.
Okay, for anyone who hasn't watched the show, just to let me finish that up. For anyone's like, what are they talking about? Why would Lauren get somebody hurt? Is because we've had 2 bets so far, and in both of those, they are now hurt. It was J.K. Dobbins and then Max Williams. They're both out for the season. Congratulations, Lauren. I curse people just by saying their name when it comes to any kind of betting. So yeah, if something else happens now, thanks, Jake, for making me that person.
All right. Well, who's your favorite quarterback in the draft class? See if he makes it to the end of the year.
I'm not saying it out loud. I'm not. No, that's horrible. I'm not doing it. They're very negative chi, and I'm not going to get involved in it.
Kenyon Drake over any of those 3, because the interesting thing with Kenyon Drake is the quarterback or the coaching change. He actually technically could fall into the Unbreak My Heart section, is because Kenyon Drake was droppable. He wasn't even being used when they were down. He wasn't being used in the passing game. If anybody was getting spelled, Peyton Barber was coming in while healthy. But the coaching change did a couple things, and you might as well loop Brian Edwards into this, is Brian Edwards was out there second only to Darren Waller in snaps and opportunities, ahead of Henry Ruggs, despite the fact that Henry Ruggs had the big game. Henry Ruggs was out there a lot too. But you saw more Edwards, you saw more Kenyon Drake. Is this potentially a coaching change where they mix things up and now Kenyon Drake is back to having life in fantasy?
I do. And I really like what Greg Olsen is doing in that offense, because this is kind of what we expected from Kenyon Drake when he was brought to the Raiders. I mean, he is $11 million guaranteed over 2 years, but yet he was all but obsolete in the offense, except for on a whim, like, oh, Kenyon Drake sighting, there he is, woohoo. But now we saw him get more involved using the strengths that Kenyon Drake has in a very complementary type of offense with Josh Jacobs and with all of the other pieces back there to help Derek Carr. I almost said David Carr, because I think he's super handsome, but that's neither here nor there. But I really like what Kenyon Drake was able to show, because he capitalized when the opportunity presented itself. So I do like Kenya Drake. He's definitely should be in the Unbreak My Heart segment. And now that song is going to be stuck in my head forever. Thank you.
Until you get to Nashville. Are you doing anything with the Ravens backfield?
No, crying.
Okay. Whoa, wait. What if Latavius Murray is out?
Is Tyson Williams going to be activated?
Who knows?
Is it going to be Le'Veon Bell for like one touchdown? Or is it going to be Devontae Freeman where it's like...
The snaps... Well, it's funny. I put this in the column too. Is it actually 12-9 and 13-8? I think it was because it was... So anyway, it's 12-9. I think those are the numbers. But Le'Veon Bell running 2 passing snaps. And then Devontae Freeman was the flip. 8-13, more in the passing game. So it's basically they had about the same amount of snaps, 50-50, but Freeman passing game, Le'Veon Bell running game. So you can kind of try to play that, but just like the Dolphins, when you kind of try to play that and try to predict and try to go down that road, it just ends up being a mess, and it's against Cincinnati. So you should say, hey, Cincinnati should be able to keep pace. And then what happens if Cincinnati gets blown out and you go the wrong direction? So I'm with you, especially because, hey, Tyson Williams might be activated and has looked the most explosive, but who knows what's going on with that. So let's talk worries. Oh, wait. Let's see if there's any questions we can get to here real quick before we get to...
Hello, questions.
We're going to talk about Rashad Bateman, so hold on. We'll get to him. That is coming. Let's see anybody else we got here. Who do you drop for defense later this week? Would you... Wow. Corey Davis, Allen Robinson, Bateman, or T.Y. Hilton? I'm actually probably dropping Bateman, even though I don't want to, because I was about to... Might as well bring Bateman into this after you answer the question.
Yeah, am I answering this right now? Because yes. I agree. It would be Bateman, but just like, I use this a lot. Just rip the Band-Aid off, just like real fast. Just, you know what I mean? Like just so it's done. Just so it's done. It is very interesting what's going on with the Ravens offense. And they're another one. It's a conundrum here between Marquise Brown and now between Rashad Bateman when they said, and I quote, he will be eased into the offense. What about that was easing him into the offense? Okay, whatever. Thank you.
Well, Watkins was out, so yeah.
Who knows? That's true. So it's just one of those weird kind of situations where there is no real clear role for Rashad Bateman yet, and we are in a desperation time right now when if you are not going to be starting Rashad Bateman, you need to be dropping him. And in this case, I kind of think Marquise Hollywood Brown is the one that has that upside right now for the Ravens. So just do it real quick, rip the Band-Aid off. Ugh, that's hard. Very hard.
So what I will say is yes, and at the same point is at best case, he's third. And technically fourth if you want to include how much they lean on the backfield. But you got Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews in front of you all the time. This is why I kept saying weeks ago to pick up Bateman short, but immediately sell high. I would still sell high even after that use right now because of the name value. Similar to Kadarius Toney. People get excited by rookies. It's the enamored with we want the rookies to be a thing. Javonte Williams is still not in the lead. If you can sell Javonte Williams for a top 20 running back value, do it. Because unless Melvin Gordon gets hurt, he's not going away. Like, we want the better player, the better talent, the more explosive talent. Tyson Williams. We want the more explosive talent to be a thing. But coaches are going to do what they're going to do. And a lot of time, veteran presence has to do with more than just skill. Tyson Williams benched because he doesn't know how to pass block or get his assignments. That's just really what it comes down to. And he's not a rookie. He's technically second year because he sat out last year. Real quick, because I saw the Knox thing pop again. Dawson Knox, broken hand, out not a long time. They have yes, it's indefinite, but indefinite always sounds long. They said it might only be a week or two. So before anybody panics on that.
Yes, I usually give up pasta and cheese indefinitely, which means I have pasta and cheese the very next day.
The next week?
Yep. No, the next day. I can't even go a full day. No. Nope.
All right.
Can't do it.
One more before we get to this, and I just wanted to bring this out because a lot of people have been holding on to him, is so Daryl says somebody drop Russell Wilson. It's not so much about Russell Wilson. It is he's been stashing Trey Lance and keeps saying, Trey Lance is not the starting quarterback. Just go ahead and drop him. It's Jimmy Garoppolo when healthy. It's Trey Lance was out there. It was a fun 1 week great streaming option, but it's over, right, Lauren?
Yeah, and this is one of the things that really helps. It's like therapy, if you will, when you have a redraft team that you have to make these kind of very difficult decisions. play DFS, and then you can do your Trey Lance in your DFS. So you can still have a chance to root for Trey Lance, and you're still making the smarter decision for your redraft team. This gives you a little bit more diversification, if you will, if that's a word. I don't know if it is, but I said it. So ergo, it is now a word. Thank you. So
and you dropped the ergo in there.
I know. I like to throw in a lot of ancillary words.
I don't think I've heard ergo since David on when he was dating Phoebe on Friends. Like that's,
oh, geez.
Yeah, that's a long time.
I use it. I think I use it. I use it.
We have a special request for you, Lauren.
Oh,
let's
okay.
see if you can do it. Actually,
Lord.
two people have asked this of you.
Oh, God.
They're asking you to please endorse Melvin Gordon. So he gets hurt.
No, but it's not endorsing. I have to do a bet, which actually that's so funny that two people asked because I was just going to say, let's do a bet on when Melvin Gordon will stop being the RB1. I say, when is their bye?
When is the Broncos bye? I don't have every single team bye set to
why
memory.
not? You should. You're the host of this. I'm just here for the party. Come on.
I will tell you when their bye is. Good grief. This is.
I think I want to say, let's say around week 10 or 11.
It's 11.
Okay, so week 12, he will no longer be the RB1 by week 12.
That's not even a decent bet. That's just.
It's not a decent bet? Okay, I'll do week 10, because that's what I was going to say before was week 10. So
how about week
he will
9?
No longer...
Go aggressive.
Why? That's in 2 weeks, no.
Because then you get Melvin Gordon hurt earlier. That's what people want.
But this is...
For Melvin Gordon people out there, like,
I'm going to hell.
Don't really want
I'm going
Melvin
to hell, and it's all your fault.
No.
Jesus, please love me. Okay.
I hope Melvin Gordon stays healthy the entire year.
And I'm not saying about getting hurt. This bet is not about Melvin Gordon getting hurt. This bet is about whether or not Melvin Gordon will still be the
underlying
RB1.
point that people are asking is because they want him to get hurt, so Javonte Williams is the thing.
But if that can just be an unsaid byproduct, Jake, we don't need to shine light on this.
No, but we also need to say we don't ever wish. To be clear, we don't ever wish.
We never ever wish injury. I am actually a big proponent of that. I never.
When you wish, by the
injury.
way, you have to do this hand motion, just so you know.
Oh, I talk all the time. This is how I do things. All the time.
So now that we've gone down this
week 9.
evil rabbit hole and cursed our souls for all time.
I need to repent.
Save me from hell. Thank you. This is why I wore this shirt today, is because we're going to hell.
That is so appropriate. How did this happen?
Daniel Jones.
I don't even know.
Let's talk worries. I'm trying to transition out of this. This is nowhere. We need to bring this back.
I need to repent. Daniel Jones. Let's go.
Daniel Jones, how 1 to 5 Ducks time? This is Ducks time worries level. Like, no, well, see, you say, we had a conversation before we even started doing this show on another show before the season even started. And I did the good old poo-pooing of Daniel Jones, as I have for a lot. But when it comes to fantasy, I've also said, you know what, for fantasy purposes, he's not the worst. There's not a big difference between Daniel Jones and Taylor Heinicke. But the problem is, for people that see and want to just buy in that Daniel Jones can be trusted and never have a game that just happened, that's where people have the downfall. So for me, Daniel Jones, 1 duck, because this is who Daniel Jones is. This is what the bed you've gotten in. What is it? The bed you made, you lie in, or whatever the saying is. You got in this bed with Daniel Jones. But if you thought Daniel Jones was going to be top 10 quarterback and wasn't going to have games like that, how worried would you be, Lauren?
I would be at a 4 if that's what I was thinking, but that's not the reality of Daniel Jones, which is one of the, like you just said, it was the conversation that we had prior to the start of the season, which is actually how we met. Super fun. But yeah, Daniel Jones is going to be Daniel Jones, and he is a matchup worthy streaming option. And he is great in super flex. I don't mind that one at all, but super high expectations for Daniel Jones should not have been there unless it is a matchup dependent type of thing. I'm at a 2 ducks only because of the concussion. That's the only thing that worries me. And the 2 ducks actually also has to do with no Saquon Barkley. But that's really not his fault. It's just more of situational. But yeah, no, I don't have like this. This shirt is very itchy. So I keep like itching over here, everybody. So in case you're wondering what I'm doing, don't worry. I do wear deodorant and everything is fine. But yeah, so like, I don't know. Daniel Jones is just one of those people where kind of like the Robbie Anderson thing. He's not going to be a target monster in the offense. It's just kind of a similar train of thought I have for both of those players.
I don't think people realize how much Saquon Barkley does help Daniel
Oh,
Jones.
absolutely.
Because it's the running back balance in general. Like, if you look at, we jokingly talk about how Ben Roethlisberger's toast at this point. But if you look at, it's funny, but if you look at Ben Roethlisberger's play versus last year, it's slightly better because he has that balance from Najee Harris. If you look at, you go across the league and just talk about running backs that give quarterbacks that balance, and it causes the defense to have a second thought. You cause them to pull in a little bit. That's the difference between the Ravens going the opposite direction and passing more with that threat and all that type. So I think that's the biggest fact. I'm glad you brought that in there. So let's talk real quick about another quarterback. Oh, by the way, the question asking about Tyler Heineke. Tyler Heineke is a 1, but if you thought Tyler, I admit, I thought he would be a great streamer last week. Kind of pooped that bed that you made. And, so I'd be a little bit, what, 2, that he's not going to be a streaming option if Fitzpatrick's about to come back. So I guess that, but Heineke was always in the streaming conversation anyway. But what about Justin Herbert / you can even include the entire Chargers? That team just, I might as well.
Yep, do it. Perfect.
Oh, that was a really long one and appropriate for how bad.
Impressive. That was very impressive.
How concerned are you though, seriously, coming out of that game for the Chargers?
A 1. That's a 1. There was bound to be some growing pains here with everything that's going on with the coaching. They were en fuego. I don't think that's going to stop. If anything, this is going to shore them up to be even better because there were a bunch of weaknesses that were exposed during this game. And I think that they want to be those contenders and start winning because the Chargers really want to have that identity. I'm not worried about this. I'm actually kind of glad this happened because this is a reality check for every single player on that team. So I'm not worried in the slightest.
I'm with you as well. There's actually an article, if you go over The Athletic, if you follow the Chargers, there's an entire article about what happened in that game and for the fact of what was faced from the Ravens and that Martindale, what they brought to them, and the pressure, and that Herbert has been to this point able to use his athleticism to get away from that pressure and make some more plays. But you saw some of the Oregon under pressure and panic mode from him. And it was just a great game plan. So what you just said is that similar to Herbert's last 5 games last year, he had some good ones in mixed in there, of course, facing the Patriots. I think it was either the Dolphins or the Bills that limited him too. But he learned going into 2021 and stepped forward. This team is smart enough, and Herbert is smart enough to make that adjustment. Like you said, sometimes there are good losses. And if you're college football, people love good losses. But this is one of those ones where, it's funny you say this. If they were 14-0, you know what the narrative would be? They needed this loss before they head into the playoffs.
Exactly.
And I think it's a very similar situation. So let's talk about running backs. And I see one of the ones, hey, you know what? For Nahal here, I was going to say Antonio Gibson because he's on this list, but let's bring Terry McLaurin into this. Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin. Gibson, I'm actually going to give 3 and an egg because I'm worried about that shin, which they keep saying is not a problem. And they just gave him 20 touches 2 weeks ago. Now, a week and a half ago. Terry McLaurin, if I could give 0 ducks, I would. It's just he was playing through an injury coming back, and they might get Fitzpatrick back either this week or next week anyway. So no concern for McLaurin. Gibson, if I can get low-end RB1 value, I might just get the hell away from this before he's just shut down for games, plural.
Yeah, I'm very worried. I'm at a 3, possibly a 4. Like I might be at a 4. And the reason why is not, again, this is not a knock on Antonio Gibson and his talent as a running back. It's the fact that they are running him to the ground while he's hurt. What are you doing? What? I mean, come on. That's very, very frustrating. And so that's scary for me, is not necessarily how he is playing himself. It's the situation that he's in. So I am concerned. I am concerned, very much so. And if they keep doing this, he's not going to last the rest of the season. So you probably should try to find a way to get out while you can.
Okay. There is a wide receiver that is my favorite buy low in the entire history of 2021 to this date so far. You might have seen the tweet, Lauren. So I don't know if you do you know who it is? Do you want to take I'll give you one guess stab.
Okay.
One guess stab? One stab guess?
One stab at it. I gotcha.
I'll give you a hint. I've mentioned his quarterback.
Oh, okay. You've mentioned his quarterback.
Oh, somebody's already got it in the chat. Don't look at the chat.
I give up. I'm not looking at the chat. I give up. Who is it?
Chase Claypool. I am buying the living hell out of Chase Claypool. I would give him.
I would give him candidate.
Yes, I would give him a negaduck, the reverse, a negative duck. Bring back negaduck from last week. That is Chase Claypool, because I say this, Lauren, to say yes, they're buying low, because I tweeted out during the end of that game. I said Claypool could easily have 80-plus yards in this game. They're just not on the same page. Some of the targets with Ben have been contested. And responses I saw back, and this is why he's a buy low. He's not going to be a buy low everywhere. But
that's why I said that, is because I don't run across a lot of people that are worried about Chase Claypool. That's the only reason.
And I got plenty, because it's Ben Roethlisberger still his quarterback. That's not going to change. It's going to continue to be these kind of throws. And I said, did you forget about the 2 games prior to this? Technically 3 games prior to this, where 2 of those 3 games, all 3 of them are out there, but the bigger games are coming when it was down to only him and Juju the one game and only him and Deontay the other. I think Claypool is top 15. And to answer Corey King's question and Mark's Nash question, actually, I don't know if Corey King's was a guess at the answer or the question. Claypool versus Keenan Allen and Sutton, I would take Claypool over all of them.
Ooh.
And I love Keenan Allen.
I know, but poor Keenan Allen. He's kind of the victim of what's going on in that offense right now. I would lean Sutton. I have a soft spot for Cortland Sutton, especially.
I love Corey
That's
Sutton.
why I like it.
No, see, I don't, because I don't think Tim Patrick's going to completely go away. And
I don't think so either. But Cortland Sutton is going to be the same kind of mold that Chase Claypool is. He is going to be a deep threat, explosive. He is athletic. He can get it done. So, I mean, they're almost the same for me, but I would lean Cortland Sutton just a hair over Chase Claypool. But I still like them both.
I would lean Claypool by 2 hairs.
We are not betting on this. We are not betting on this, because I am not putting anything out in the atmosphere about either of those 2 players.
Please don't. Yes. Move on from them real quick. Here we go.
Quick move. Next worry. Let's go.
Metcalf and Lockett with Geno for the foreseeable future. It could be 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or whatever it is. How concerned are you? Because there was a lot of commentary saying, oh, Geno's not that big of a downgrade. And he did target Metcalf a lot at the end of that game. But we just saw it was miserable times for Metcalf and Lockett in that game. The only thing going for them was Alex Collins. So how many ducks do you give Metcalf and Lockett? Maybe combined together? Same?
Right now, I'm at a 4 for both of them. I hesitate, maybe a 3. I don't know. I'm like right around those 3 and 4, because I think Geno Smith has a way to get it done. I wonder
give
if
3
that
to Lockett, 3 to Metcalf, 4 to Lockett.
That's actually great. That's a much better way to do it. Because Geno Smith, he had a full week to get prepared, also known as super nervous, playing this game. It was under the bright lights. You know what I mean? That was a lot to ask of Geno Smith, but I think there's potential for him. The only problem is everything going on in that offense. So it sucks. But yeah,
the only one that seemed to benefit was Gerald Everett.
Yeah, I know, right? And he did not get the Angry Runs scepter from Good Morning Football. I'm sad about that.
Oh, I don't even know what that is. But real quick, back to that trade. I wouldn't trade Claypool for Sutton, because that's a wash trade, and I don't do wash trades.
I agree.
Like, I'm not gonna just. They're like you said. I agree with you. They're essentially the same guy. I would take, if I did rest of season rankings, it would probably
preference,
be
yeah,
it'd probably be Claypool 15, Sutton 16, and in that case, I'm not making the trade. How concerned are you about Michael Pittman? I gave him quite a few ducks. I'm not gonna tell you how many, because T.Y. Hilton comes back. Looks really good in his first game back. They kept him limited in his action, and he still led the team in targets and yards, and looked like the late season T.Y. Hilton last year, where they kind of started using him differently. I'm concerned that, I think they're going to be a 1A, 1B, but I think we were looking at Michael Pittman as a potential wide receiver 2, maybe high-end wide receiver 3, and I think this kicks him back down to a low-end wide receiver 3.
Ooh, I think that's a little steep for Michael Pittman. And here's my reasoning behind it. I am right around. I'll give him 2 ducks and an egg. Here's why. Because T.Y. Hilton's hurt again. Shocking. He has a quad injury.
No, see, there's some room. We got to wait on that. There's some rumors that he wasn't hurt, is that was intentional. You saw him walking on the sidelines, is that was to keep him limited.
Okay. Sure. Either way, he's listed with a quad injury, and Paris Campbell has a significant, and I quote, significant foot injury, according to head coach Frank
Zach Pascal
Reich.
was better anyway. Zach Pascal of ODU.
I love Zach Pascal. I love him too. But yeah, I'm not really that concerned yet, because I don't know. I think this is really good for Carson Wentz, and I think that it's going to be a little bit. I'm more optimistic about it than I
He's
think.
He's getting healthier, by the way. So let's talk about another duo of wide receivers. Cincinnati, T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. T. Higgins for me, almost zero. This is just he's not going to every single week. The bigger one is the Infinity Duck has shown up. Because the same concern I had at the beginning of the season, I didn't think it would be this bad. But if all three are out there, basically if T. Higgins is out there because he's the only one that's been getting hurt, Tyler Boyd is almost a non-factor. Like he's just, it's not even 3 wide. And similar to the Steelers with Claypool, when Juju was healthy, it was like, all right, Claypool might get 80 in a touch and he might get 20 yards this week. But hey, 8 good games, 8 bad games. This is just basically Tyler Boyd is non-existent if all 3 of them are out there.
I agree with you. It is sad because I love Tyler Boyd, but I don't know how many people really wanted him to do exceptionally well, but as soon as the whole Jamar Chase thing happened after the draft, it was like, oh, bye-bye Tyler Boyd. We kind of knew this was going to happen unless there was injury because like CJ Uzomah is actually doing better than he is. So yeah, it's a shame, but
okay.
Agreed.
Last one. I'm going to throw out 2 names, Dalton Schultz and Mike Gesicki. And people's initial reaction might be, why are you even bringing them up in the concern section? Here's why. Michael Gallup comes back.
Yep.
Dalton Schultz ahead of Blake Jarwin, but Blake Jarwin's still out there for about 70% of the time that Schultz is. And Mike Gesicki has Devontae Parker coming back and has been seeing a lot of slot work while Parker's been out, despite Waddle doing a lot of his own work. But we know if Parker's out there, he's not going to be doing the slot that's Waddle. So I put both of these in there I gave them only 2s each, but to say, you know what, if somebody's desperate at tight end and you can get that top 10 value, I think we've seen similar to Dawson Knox, and not because of the hand injury, but I feel like we've seen the best of all 3 tight ends, health, non-exist, like put again, the hand injury with Dawson Knox, but they've all hit their peak and that's where you want to get out. And I still think they're fringe tight end ones, but I think they're more fringe where people are putting them in the top 6 or 7 conversation.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not as concerned about Gesicki as I am about Dalton Schultz because of the Michael Gallup and also because of Blake Jarwin. So for me, there's a lot more going against Dalton Schultz than we have for Gesicki. So my biggest concern here is going to be for Schultz because at any given moment, it's going to be tight end Blake Jarwin that sees the end zone. Oh, wait, we've seen that happen a couple times now. So it is concerning for Schultz for me more so than Gesicki. If I had to choose, obviously, I'd rather take Gesicki. But if I didn't have a choice, I'd still probably play Dalton Schultz because he does tend to find the end zone sometimes.
All right, so this is actually a good question from Daryl. Where would you put Ertz in the conversation with them? Not as a concern, but now that Ertz is with Arizona, basically rank those 4. You said Gesicki's number 1. So Gesicki, Schultz, and then Knox missing 1. We'll say Knox missing 1 game and Ertz.
Oh, okay.
This is mostly about to find your value of Ertz.
Yeah, okay. So I like Ertz better than all those guys.
Okay.
Very spicy. I know that's muy caliente, but I like the Arizona. It is. I like the Arizona offense. I know what Zach Ertz can do, and I know what he can help that offense. And they're not just going to ignore him. He's not going to be the Zach Ertz of the Eagles that we knew of like 2 and 3 years ago, but I think he could get close in some games, and he has the talent to do it. If Max Williams became a thing in the Cardinals offense, you better believe that Zach Ertz can do it also. So it'd be Ertz, Knox, Gesicki, Schultz.
Okay, very interesting. All right, so speaking of not ignoring things,
Ooh.
I think it's about time we stop ignoring Jamal Agnew because Urban Meyer wants
right?
Jamal Agnew to be a thing.
It's big a thing.
Laviska Shenault and Jamal Agnew are actually, the past 2 weeks, running and snaps and everything are very close. Targets are actually, I think, the same. But it's not so much about Shenault as it is, do we pick up Jamal Agnew? I mean, do we have to say, you know what? Forget what we think about Jamal Agnew. He is a factor and maybe a wide receiver 4 during buys? ?
Yes, I think that he is a serviceable replacement for buys, but he is not someone that you should be putting your confidence into. And every time I hear his name, all I want to do is say, Gesundheit.
Well, then let me ask you this as we finish up the
Agnew.
show.
Bless you.
Between Agnew and Amon-Ra St. Brown, because you refuse to endorse Lions wide receivers. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2 weeks in a row, mostly because of injuries, granted, but Would you go Agnew or St. Brown? I have a feeling you finally have to back a Lions wide receiver.
You have guessed correctly. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you have changed me. I'm just kidding. Not very much. Like, this is serviceable bye weeks and such, and especially DFS. But yeah, I do like what Amon-Ra St. Brown has been able to do. I am very curious about this matchup coming up with the Lions and the Rams. It's gonna be fun.
Revenge game.
Or terrible. What?
Oh my gosh, Stafford's going to obliterate them. It's going to be
It's
glorious.
going to be so bad.
And what's going to be glorious is Lauren going on her vacation, so she will not be back next Tuesday. Your friend north of the border, you got the hat that's way too big that she has to return.
So big.
Follow her at Stepmom Lauren and stepmomlauren.com. Meanie will be filling in next week. Tomorrow, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, we're live with Jeff to talk Week 7 rankings debate. Theathletic.com/capitals, BetsTV. And you get a first free month. Keep doing that. I'm gonna draw out the show longer and longer. Lauren saying goodbye. We'll see you guys later.